That's a gay-ass podcast.
What? That's a gay-ass podcast. A what? A really, really, really gay podcast that we call That's a Gay-Ass Podcast.
That's a gay-ass name for a gay-ass podcast.
Welcome back to That's a Gay-Ass Podcast, the podcast that asks, whose fault is it that you're gay, babe? It is me, Eric Williams, and this week we have Broadway's Mikey Graceffa on the podcast, currently in Death Becomes Her on the Great White Way. He's also in that gay movie, Fire Island. He's been on television in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Julio Torres's Phantasmus, Welcome to Chippendales, and more. Now, before we get into this delicious episode, a humble ask is for you to review this podcast if you enjoy, because we want to spread that gay-ass gospel, and we're 5 reviews away from 300 on Apple Podcasts. So if you listen there, the last review is from like September, which is like a little embers, a little embrace. Para mí. So if you would like to leave a review, it would truly mean the world. And of course, if you're on Spotify, you can review there. Or if you're on YouTube, throw a like, because if you enjoy sexy, hairy singer, dancer, actors, then baby, this episode delivers. Mikey Graceffa and I talk about how he learned to embrace his body hair, Virgo perfectionist hell, the time that he toured the country, slooting away in all 50 states, and more. Enjoy this episode with Mikey Graceffa. Mikey Graceffa is on That's a Gay-Ass Podcast, and we're recording on your day off on a Sunday. Mikey, how's your gay Sunday going?
It's going nice. It's fancy to have a day off Sunday in Broadway, but it's one of my last ones, so.
And we're here to celebrate. You know what? I want to ask you an immediate controversial question, Mikey. We're recording on a Sunday, and if I only give you 3 options for your Sunday, what do you choose? A, get brunch, B, get baked, or C, goon and bait?
Ooh. I'm going to be basic and say brunch, but get baked is really close.
Okay, so maybe you'll get baked after brunch.
Honestly, or get baked before brunch.
Oh, you know, I have to say that one of my favorite traditions is to giggle with my friends over a stack of pancakes and a spliff, bitch.
Oh, I love a spliff. It's so bad, but I love spliffs.
Well, are you trying to be on like a Broadway non-spliff diet?
Yeah, I'm trying to be like, trying to just do the edibles, no tobacco, no inhaling,
Sure.
but like, am I good at it? No.
Well, you know what? For this next hour, we're going to honor whatever your bliss is. And I just want to thank you for coming on That's a Gay-Ass Podcast. I've been sort of an FAN for a long time. Is that crazy to say?
Oh my God, stop. No, I love to hear it. I'm so honored. When you asked me, I was like, me? Like
and
me?
babe,
And,
baby, it's you. You're on the Gay Ass Pod. Well, since you're here, I want to immediately get into your history, because Mikey Graceffa, you are currently, if we're talking about the present, you're in probably one of the buzziest Broadway shows called Death Becomes Her.
Buzz, honey.
It's truly, just to emotionally prepare you, I will be seeing the show in January. I will be screaming from the odd. And can you first tell me, when you found out you booked such a gay show, what did you do to celebrate, or how did you feel about being back on Broadway? Because this is not your first rodeo.
Honestly, it was like a whirlwind, because I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be in another show. Like, I'm doing TV stuff, but then it was this with this team, and I'm obsessed with this movie. And I was so excited to audition. I was like, yes. And then, yeah, it was kind of a tricky thing. I thought I did something that I thought I really messed up my final callback, and I went and got this like huge burger, and I was like calling my mom, and I was like, I messed it up. I was stupid. I was like, they're never gonna want me. And then I was like, sorry, I have another call. And it was like immediate. It was like an hour after my final. They're like, yeah, they want you. And
You're
this
wiping
was for
your
the
tears.
lab.
Give me a second,
I was like,
Mom. Give me
wait,
a
no,
quick
never
second.
mind. That's good.
Wait, what did you fuck up? What did you fuck up in your final audition?
It was a long story, but I just didn't feel like I was in the pocket, I didn't feel like I was in the pocket. And
was it
you have those
choreographic,
days.
or was it a lyrical singing moment? Was it acting beat? I just want to know like the arena of the fuck up.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I'm a Virgo. All right.
Me too. You're. I'm not to be this cuckoo, but you're September 11th, 1990. I'm September 21 in 1989. We're 10 days apart, a year apart. Go on.
Oh my god. So you'll get this. Like, I'm on it.
Yeah.
I was late. I was late to my final callback. I was mortified. I've never been that mortified. I was in Bushwick. I thought it was at a certain time. My agent's like, they're waiting for you. And I literally didn't even brush my teeth in a whirlwind on the train, shaking. I was like, I messed up my life. And
I'm feeling your panic right now because as, again, a fellow Virgo, when you know that you're the reason that the fuck up happened, we always can depend on ourselves to be the most crazy dependable. And yet when we are human beings and we fuck up, blood boil, stomach drop to asshole. I get it. It's my worst feeling in the entire world. Because I'm always like, when anyone else does that, I'm like, how could you ever do that? But honestly, people are human and people make mistakes. And I was stressed out that week. And I'm so happy that they gave me grace because Mikey, I get it. It's not cute. We have to forgive ourselves for being humans from time to time. I know Virgos sometimes think that we don't exist on the same plane, but we in fact are mortals, mere mortals, babe.
I'm really hard on myself. So thank you for saying that. I try to remind myself.
No, I truly am weekly in therapy talking about how to celebrate the wins and not be let the thoughts be so cuckoo crazy to ourselves. Why are we such assholes to ourselves?
Oh my God, the worst. I'm the same way. It's all I talk about in therapy. But
did they when you booked the show, were they like, hey, you booked the show, but next time brush your teeth? It was really funky.
I was asking random people. I remember my friend Kyle Brown was there and I was like, do you have hair gel or a toothbrush? He's like, girl, are you okay? What is wrong? And he's Broadway vet. I'm obsessed with him. He's in the show with me. And he was just take a breath. Who friggin' cares, girl? You're fine.
Wow.
And he gave me this look and I was like, I love you so much. So
I'm so excited for you that you did in fact book a show that from all I hear is incredible. It's camp. It's incredible. I mean, the obviously the stars of the show, Megan Hilty, Jennifer Samard, two queens of the stage. But can we talk about for a second Michelle Williams? When I found out that she was in the show, I was of course gagged. But I need to know: have you yet asked her about the 2013 Super Bowl where she was shot on the stage like a cannon?
Oh my God, we bring it up. So we're always remember that and this. So they have her doing crazy stunts in this show. Wait till you see. I'm not going to give anything away, but she's so used to being thrown out at something, walking down this. They the other two, Megan and Jen, who I freaking love, goddesses. There's just okay, you're going to walk down this aisle and you're going to be great. With Michelle, they're you're going to be hanging from this. You're going to have 5 men picking you up here. You're going to be submerged in this. Yeah, and she's in the most beautiful, iconic costumes and she doesn't complain once. She is having a good time. She is opposite of diva.
I never thought she would be, but I just think that when you're a part of a girl group like Destiny's Child and you've toured the world and and then you go from that to a Broadway show, we can say it. Broadway is not the most glamorous. 8 shows a week is not easy. Your dressing rooms are 4 feet by 2 feet. But the fact that she is so game to be a part of something so gay as well, it affirms to me that she's always been that girl and she's always nailed the bridge in the Destiny's Child songs, and she is the bridge between us and God.
The bridge. And you better believe they wrote some amazing bridges that come out of nowhere just for her to sing in the show. And
Michelle Jeff Bridges, bitch.
Yes, Michelle Jeff Bridges. She's singing down and she's so sweet and she loves all of us. I'm obsessed with her. She is such a weirdo. She's super down to earth and she's humble. I feel that's what, she just breathes humility. And I love seeing people like that. We're
manifesting here, but when I am so stupid rich, I cannot wait to brag about how nice I still am from my Italian villa. I can't wait to brag about how I'm still insane. I can't wait to brag about how I'm still in therapy, but I'm also sipping from a virgin Mai Tai because alcohol makes me anxious. But it will be laced with gold. And I'll still be talking about, again, how I'm still just like the other girls. I just happen to own a yacht.
It's kind of giving that, like, because we forget, you know.
She has to be filthy. I'm not trying to be tacky. I know that you're not supposed to talk about money, but Michelle Williams has got to be set. She has to be okay.
Oh, she's set. I'm sure she's set. And you know what? She does this because she has passion and
the love of the game.
And she has craft, and the world wants to see, like, she can sing down. I'm always like, I'm like, you know, we grew up with Destiny's Child. Like, I went up to her one day and I was doing those poses. I was like, Michelle, who am I? And she goes, say my name. I know you're not the first one to do that. And I was like,
I wish she had said, you're a faggot.
You're a fag. Yeah. I'm always, sometimes I'm like, I'm a faggot. And Michelle's like,
correct.
Honey,
correct. No, I remember being in 8th grade, and obviously a deep closet case, but I was like, we were singing Survivor and I decided to be Michelle and I decided the choreo was crawling on the floor. And I'm not joking. I haven't thought about this in so many years, but it was like, obviously I was surrounded by my girly friends and they were all laughing and cheering me on, and obviously I was still deeply maybe ashamed of the fact that I would be gay or whatever it was, but I remember in that moment being like, I am Michelle Williams, my girls are cheering me on, and it felt like a quick moment of sheer gay bliss, and I knew that I was, as you say, in the pocket. I felt like I was in the pocket of whatever I was meant to be, and that was writhing on the floor doing a girl group choreo.
I feel like I've had so many moments of all my blissful moments as a child is like those split 5-minute sections where I could just totally gay out and feel like me and like submerge myself and not feel like all of the, oh no, like, you know, it's, and like, that was it. Like girl groups, boy bands, Britney, and so to be seeing this again, also with another gay icon, Megan Hilty, I'm sorry for like the younger millennials with watching Smash and being like, and wanting to be on Broadway and being like, you're an icon, and then being just like holding her hand and she winks at me throughout the show. And I'm just like, damn, like I can just like jump off a bridge now. Like I'm good.
You really can. And I don't encourage you to, but it's just, I see those moments of the gay bliss as a kid, and then to see you now on Broadway, I'm just so living for it and living for your journey. And speaking of that, Mikey Graceffa, I would love to ask you the famous podcast question, which is, whose fault is it that you're gay? Who do we blame, babe?
I've been thinking about this a lot. There's so many good answers everywhere from like Hillary Duff to tap shoes, but it's probably my mom. I'm the youngest of 3 boys, and my mom, Judy, she's fab, and I was the baby. So the boys would be at school. My dad was like the principal of our high school, and we would go to TJ Maxx every day. Wow. Every day we would go to TJ Maxx. Like that's
so it's
what
your
we
mom.
did.
It's your mom and bargain shopping.
Yeah, we love to shop and we love a bargain. And then I'd be like, I want a Barbie. Can you get me this? I want the girl Happy Meal. And like, she would just kind of like let me do that. And
tell me your mom's name again.
Judy.
Oh my God, Judy.
Yeah. She's a Virgo too. So, and her mom was a Virgo. So we're like in this Virgo coven thing. Yeah.
Wait, that's so beautiful. So you have this very male-oriented family. I'm also one of all boys. I'm one of 4 boys. My dad was not the principal, but I feel like when your dad's the principal, I don't know. That's a certain like. Do you feel like you're sort of like in the White House in a way?
Yeah, trauma mama. It was like giving small suburban town, like mayor's son, you know? So there's just, and my dad is like the nicest human in the world and the most loving, open, but like just that pressure of being seen from like a small community that was, you know, it was like Boston, like dirty fucking Boston. People fucking talking like this.
Yeah, and so, dirty Boston is very heterocentric.
Super heteronormative, super sports heavy. And I was playing sports in oh my God, it's just code switching. It's probably why I became an actor. I'm like, acting my entire life. So it was just a lot of pressure in that. And yeah, and like my mom, you know, she never had a daughter and I was her baby, and I love to dance. Her best friend owned a dance studio. I stayed in it my entire, so and I still today, like I'm this, like I have to call her first. She expects me to call her so many times a week. My other brothers don't call her first. I call dad first. So if I call my dad first, it's like, why'd you call your father first? And it's like, so it's like, I'm, I hold that space, and I'm happy to, because I connect with my mom really, really deeply.
There's something about a gay kid and his mother, and I think that there have been and will be many books and movies written about it. But can you tell me, I just want to know kind of like the brand of trauma. Is Graceffa, are you Italiano? What's the Boston?
Yeah, Sicilian. Okay. Like my grandfather immigrated from Sicily to the town that my family still lives in. He was the first Italian city council member. My dad was the principal of the high school for 20 years. So and I'm a Virgo, and I need to prove everybody wrong. So I was third in my class, the captain of the lacrosse team, president of student council, like had like fake girlfriends. I was really miserable, and I a lot of it I did that to myself, but I just felt so repressed.
Well, again, you have to give yourself the grace of the circumstance you were placed into. I've been talking about that a lot right now, about like, okay, if we give ourselves the grace of knowing that we've come a long way, and maybe look at the circumstances we were put into. You were put into a very straight world outside of Boston. Your dad's the principal. You have you're one of three boys. Are your brothers straight?
Yes.
Okay, so you're like a lot of straightness around you, and the fact that you could thrive, quote unquote, thrive academically and in terms of achievements is amazing, but you're now unlearning the things that you attach to your value, and your value is not that you were the student council president, that you were all these things. Your value is that you're a great person, that you are silly and whatever it is, but it's a huge mind fuck to try to see what is actually what you are deep down versus what we're doing to try to stay safe.
And thank you for saying that. I'm like tearing up, because that's been my journey, and still today, I like what I said in the beginning, I'm really hard on myself. And sometimes I'm always counting my wins as career achievements. And that's so deeply, part of my trauma. And I'm trying to take the more time to just, be a good person and be a good friend and work on me. And now I've been like, I need to travel. I need to see places. I need to experience life. It isn't just work, especially being back in Broadway, like 8 shows a week. It's like, go, 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 go. Yeah. And I'm like, no, like I need to savor like life moments. That's what life is about.
Well, it's also about like learning when you're, I think, a queer person, also of learning how to trust your gut as an adult, because so much of what you're told as a kid is like your gut's either wrong, or you should be not having your moments of gay bliss, but you should be playing lacrosse, versus actually, what do I want to do? What feels good? And that's literally like random example, but my husband is out of town right now, and like it's very rare for me to be home without him. Usually I'm traveling, and I'm like having these moments of like, what do I actually want to fucking do this weekend? Like what, like I'm having a tough time of like, what should I be doing? What do I want to do? And again, it's a very simple example, but it's still like, it gives me these existential crises.
You lose that autonomy. And after high school, I was like, I went right into college, was super promiscuous, but like I spent the time to really find myself. And I think like when I started finding myself, I was able to trust that gut of like what feels good, because everyone, even at Vassar, they were like, you're from public school, you're not good enough actor, you're not smart enough, you're just generic good looking, you're never going to succeed. My parents being like, being on Broadway is, harder than your brother making the Major League Baseball team. Like I was just like, it felt like everyone was like, okay, girl, have fun trying. And but I knew that it felt good, going back to that, like when it feels good and it feels right, and taking that time to figure out like who Mikey was, and like what I, was able to like, have my dreams come true because of that.
there's two things that I need to find out about when you talk about going to Vassar. One is you dropped the word promiscuous, I think. I need, we're going to kind of lean into that one for just a quick second. Mikey, you go to Vassar, you're surrounded by prep school bros and theater monsters. What were you hooking up before you went to college, or was Vassar sort of where you opened your vagina, Vassarina?
I was very, very careful in high school. I found a couple like private school boys, not too far, can't, be in the same school. Like, I was very careful. But I used to do this thing where I thought was so hot, where I had this girlfriend and we would go to this like park and park in the parking lot, and we'd like make out, and I don't know what I was doing. And then the next night I would bring this boy from like BC High or something and park in the same exact parking spot because I thought that was like so hot.
It's like, giving Victor Victoria. It's giving Jekyll and Hyde. It's giving Julia. So you didn't know what you were doing making out with a girl, but you bring the boy to the same spot. Did you know what you were doing then?
Felt like I knew what I was doing.
You weren't doing full home run in the car?
I mean, I did once in high. It was like my first, like, I did a show at the North Shore Music Theater, and I won't say who this phenomenal Broadway star is now, but we met when we were very young, and I think we counted because it was special, but it was really like we just like went in and out both ways and was like, we did it. Because honestly, I really don't think I knew what I was doing.
Was that your first time?
Yeah. So it's always special, and we're still good friends. And it's
giving grace to first times. The first time I had sex, it was in and out a few times, and then we said, okay.
Like, can we talk about like how like I feel like Gen Z totally like gets like gay sex, like I did not know like what I was doing in high school. I didn't know about lube. Like I didn't know what it was supposed to feel like or what you're supposed to do. Like we just like knew the idea.
I think we had a quote unquote lubed condom when I first did it, and I think we were like, okay, that's enough, sweetie.
Yeah, sweetie, that's enough. It's more like we did it. Yay! Like we did it. I can't believe we did it. I'm like, we didn't really do it. Like that we didn't experience it. But...
We did not enjoy it, that's for sure. You obviously, I'm not gonna ask for the name, but you're both young, you and this Broadway now star, North Shore, that's your first. Is this person, again, I'm respecting boundaries, but I just need to know, is this person someone that I would be like, oh, I know who that is?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Well, the other question I wanted to ask you is, when we get into, you went to Vassar for undergrad, are the rumors true that you left school early because you actually booked a show?
Yeah, but I went back. I booked my first, I was doing like summer stock, $400 a week, like in the summer in the Catskills. It felt like Dirty Dancing, and it was like musical theater boot camp after my junior year. And I didn't know like anything about like where to audition, whatever. And everyone was like, there's like an open call for like the first national tour of Catch Me If You Can. And I was like, oh, I've never auditioned in New York, like, and went to like a big audition. Like, why don't I go? And like I went, and like 6 hours later, they're like, your call back tomorrow. I was like, I can't. I'm in like Legally Blonde in the Catskills. And they were like, okay, like we're just gonna give it to you. So I was like, oh my God. Yeah, it was like Nick Henkel, who's now like my biggest mentor, who I like Jerry Mitchell's like right-hand man for so many years, did all that like Legally Blonde choreo, and was like, I remember he was like, looked at me, he's like, okay, you're gonna go in and dance alone. Don't fuck it up. And I was like, oh my God. And I had to do like the whole like choreo by myself because I couldn't be there the next day. And then on the train back to the Catskills, they're like, you booked. And I was like, what? So I left, and I didn't have my senior year with like all my friends, and they all graduated without me. And I went to 50 cities as like a 21-year-old. And I was just like, I downloaded the Grindr app for the first time in my life. And I was like, I was doing some sketch stuff, but it was 21.
I was gonna say, talk about that, baby. That's senior year. Senior year.
That
is,
was is
is
senior
fucking
year
across these 50 states. You. Well, now I have to know. Were there any memorable stories that come from that time, like Grindr wise, that you feel comfy saying on a recorded gay ass podcast?
Yeah, I was in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Hey, I've also been there. Huge fan. Great cute town. Go on.
It's a cute town until you like go home with a random townie at like 3 a.m. And I remember being drunk and getting in this car and then being like, I felt like I was in backwoods. Like it was like farmland goes by and then you see like shacks. And I was like, what am I doing? And I remember getting into his like bungalow house. I don't know. And he was giving, I felt like those red flags. Like I was like, this isn't good. This isn't good. And he went in the bathroom and I ran out the door. I just ran out the door. I just ran out the door and started running down the street. I had no idea where I was. It was like 20% juice left. I was 9 miles away from my hotel. And there was no one around. I tried calling all these. There's no cabs. There's no Uber. This was like 2013, 2012. There isn't Uber yet. Like I walked and saw the sunrise and like past like 2 Walmarts until I finally made it back to town.
You walked the 9 miles back?
Yes. And then I remember getting into the thing and like my friend's out like walking her dog in the morning and it's like 8 a.m. She's like, honey, you're up early. And I was like, yeah.
You have no idea, bitch. That is harrowing. But again, it like takes me immediately back to the 21-year-old mindset where you're like not knowing how to see the red flags early or trust your gut early, and then you find yourself in a lean-to. I've done the exact same thing. I not proud to admit this, but one of my first times, not even Grindr, it was like Adam for Adam or something, and it was probably the year of our Lord 2011, whatever it was. And I went to this guy's apartment. It was a summer between semesters of school, and I was staying in like Murray Hill, and this guy lived like 20 blocks up, and I was like, okay, he's close. Guess what I did not do was get a picture of this man, and I decided
you didn't even see what he looked like?
No, Mikey, no. I just said, okay. He said he like worked in medicine. I was like, oh, a doctor. Cut to I walk in, it reeks of cigarettes. He is like a receptionist at like a physical therapy clinic, and he was just not someone I was down to clown with. And he gave me a glass of water. He goes, so do you want to? And I was like, I actually have to go. Thank you so much. And I dropped the glass of water. I put the glass of water on his counter. I essentially ran out the door. And as I walked out the door, I got a phone call from my dad, who was just calling to say hi, I guess. And I was just like, look at your life, Eric. You have gone to a stranger's home that you didn't even see. You're not into it. You're essentially running away. And I go, hi, Dad. How are you? It was just like, it was, again, this awful period of like, you want to be horny, you want to explore, but you don't have the tools to actually do it in a way that feels either good, right, safe, or yummy.
No, we were given no tools. And I kind of look back and be like proud of us because we got through that and we figured it out. But like, this is before Glee, and when it was like cool, you even saw gay characters. Like this is like, it was not like something that it took a long time to be like, fuck yeah, I'm a faggot, Yeah. And to go through those things, it's part of that journey. And
well, I also want to like shout out our ancestor, hers, because we, I'm very lucky to be able to talk to all these different people. And when I talked to someone like Carson Kressley was on last week, and to hear about, he was growing up in Amish country in Pennsylvania, not knowing a single gay person. And so you think about us in, 2011, 2012, 2013, we feel like that was the old days. But think about, the people that really, really were demonized for being gay, and then all they wanted to do was like fag out or whatever it was. And I just like, I again totally agree with you that we need to feel proud of ourselves, and we need to just feel grateful that it continues to get easier for the younger queers, hopefully. Although apparently Gen Z is like kind of sex negative is what I'm hearing. I don't really like I don't know what they're like. I think they kind of see like sex in the media as like a bad thing. I don't know. I pray for them that they can find their bliss. I do.
Yeah, I think like, yeah, I just feel old now in terms of like relating with this, with sometimes with the Gen Z. I'm just like, wait, what? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, where did I was always like the baby and the cutie, and now I'm like this generation. I'm like, I just don't get it. Honestly, what really annoys me is like the Y2K references and style, and they don't know any of the references, or they don't
I know.
it kills me.
There's apparently a new. Oh, go on.
No, I was just gonna say my boyfriend's 26, so he's a zillennial. He's also from Mexico, so like, you know, different culture growing up.
Yeah.
But Genie in a Bottle came on, and he's with his roommate, and then their roommate's next door neighbor, a girl. I go, who is this? Who's this artist? Oh, Britney Spears. I was like, I have to leave. I have to get out. Like,
tough.
I was like, I had tears in my eyes. I was like, when did life become this? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
It's not okay. They say that this current election that we're literally in the, I mean, we're recording this 2 days before the election. This episode comes out the day after. So let's just all, you know what? I'm not even going to say anything except we pray that people learn Christina Aguilera's name, and we pray that our country is in good hands.
I know.
But speaking of hands, Mikey Graceffa, I want to give you two different hands to choose from in a game I like to call Slay or Nay. I'm going to read you off something, and you're going to tell me if it is a slay or if it is a nay, and why. Are you buckled to the brunch up?
Let's friggin' do it.
All right, Mikey Graceffa, slay or nay, shaving your bush / going bald eagle?
Nay. My bush is like big. It comes like out of my dance pal in the show, and everyone's like, are you gonna trim? No, I love a bush. I love it.
I was baiting you into going pro bush, and I'm glad that you were the master of the baiter.
God. Yeah. It's like,
go bush or go home, bitch.
Honey. Yeah, I don't want to see a little pee-pee. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I feel like when it's all shaved. It's just like, ooh, I'm like, no, like, come on.
Come on,
bitch. That's me. Everyone, you know, I'm not yucking anyone's yum, but
go bush.
Go bush.
Thank you for that perfect answer. Mikey, slay or nay, showmances?
Nay. I mean, let me clarify. Always have someone you can flirt with. Like, always have a little like flirt, but don't shit where you eat. It's annoying for you, and it becomes embarrassing for you, and it becomes annoying for everybody else. Like, come on, like, don't mess with the dynamics.
You're speaking from a girlie who has been around the block and who has worked, and that is the beauty of age. While we might feel sad about the younger people not knowing our divas, we are grateful to have the wisdom to not backstage. Mikey Graceffa, slay or nay, eating Thanksgiving dinner at 1 p.m.?
I feel like we do that at the Graceffa household. So I guess I'll say yay. Because then you just like don't eat, and then you eat so much at 1 p.m. and then you just keep nibbling, and then you just like sleep for like the whole day.
No, it's a controversial. That's why I asked you, because it's controversial. I grew up more of like a 4 to 5 p.m. and then I married
dinner, right? Not
well,
like
that's
1.
dinner, hun.
Yeah.
But I married into a family that they were more of the 1 persuasion. So I see both sides, but I just wanted to get into politics.
It's random.
Quickly.
I'm just used to it, you know.
Sure. Slay or nay, Jordan Firstman dressing up as Ariana DeBose singing Angela Bassett Did the Thing for Halloween?
Jordan is such an idiot. If you're listening, Jordan, you're an idiot. Such a yay. Because, yeah, I'm going to keep my comments to myself. But, yeah.
Well, you're saying yay, and you're keeping your comments to yourself. So I feel like your comments are
yay to Jordan. And that's all I'm going to say. Like, I think that was funny. Yeah.
Oh, I love the things that aren't said. Yay! And I say yay. Wait, slay or nay? Let's do Countess Luann's Cabaret.
Honestly, slay, because every time I see her, I think she's a drag queen. And we got off the boat. I got off the boat to Fire Island in this magical. I went with like Julio Torres, who's become a good friend of mine, James Scully, and we like came really late at night in this beautiful way. And the first thing we see is like, oh my God, look at that drag queen, Countess Luann, in the tiniest skirt. And I was like, okay, work. Like, you found your demographic. You're always at like the standard when all the gays are there.
Yeah.
Like, you love the gays loving you. And I feel like the gays love you because you love the gays loving you. You know, it's kind of like a weird thing.
No, we love a tall woman who can bask in the glory of gay men screaming yes. I also
and she's so messy. She's so messy.
Oh, yeah.
She's like always drunk and always like
fucking
getting
someone
removed. Yeah.
Yeah, which, like, you know, I pray for the longevity of her, I don't know, liver / body, but I do think that she is living her bliss, and again, that's all we can hope to do is just like follow our messy compass if it's sometimes messy. She also, one of my favorite lines from the Real Housewives of New York when she was on it was, they're like, oh yeah, we heard a man's voice last night, and fuck, what was the line? We heard a man's voice last night, and
it was
Mikey,
was it like her voice?
I had it. They were making a joke
about
her voice.
Money can't buy you class. That's the one I know.
Money. But you know what? Again, as a Virgo, we need to admit failure and say that the failure was okay. And I failed with a quote, and that's fine, Mikey. That's fine. Giving ourselves grace.
Proud of you. And we're gonna find that quote, and people are gonna get to look it up now. And now it's gonna send people on a deep dive, and it's gonna be great.
There you go. As there's blood leaving my eye. Okay, let's go to one of our final slay or nays. Mikey Graceffa, slay or nay, hooking up on the dance floor?
Okay. You know what? It's something I don't think I've done in a long time. But you know what? I'm gonna say slay for some people, because every time I see it now, I'm like, girls, oh my God, how much K have you done? Are you whatever? Like, geez, I saw someone, I went into that, remember that place that didn't last long, then they were like horrible people, the gay bar on 8th Avenue. What was that called? Whatever.
Balcon,
and it was like
or
3
something?
No, it was like 3 stories, and it was like, and it had
right.
Whatever, it doesn't matter. They had a dark room one night. I went in and I saw this little twink, and he's with his friend, and they're like smiling at each other and holding hands. And then I look to the right, someone is penetrating him from behind, and he is holding his friend's hand, and like, oh my God, this is happening. And like, I was like, I gotta go. But then I thought about it, and I was like, you know, what a beautiful experience. And I'm thinking about things that I did in my early 20s that in the moment felt viscerally incredible. You know,
this is me holding
the
I'm
hand.
the twink.
He was holding his friend's hand, getting railed, and be like, oh my God. Like he was on a roller coaster. I was like, I need to go. I go, why am I even here? I'm like, I need to go home. Oh, I'll never forget that moment. That was such a New York moment. But I was like, you know what? Good for her. Good for her. You know, people should have that moment. I think sometimes it can get excessive, or people want to be seen doing whatever. But if people are having this pure gay moment, you know, murder on the dance floor, and they're living it, you know, everyone deserves some. But maybe you only get like 10 in your life, you know.
Oh, well, 10 feels a little generous, but no, I think 10's good. I think it's a slay for a time. It's a slay at some point, and then at a certain point it does become a nay. I mean, listen, you might like all of a sudden find me in a few years being a slut on a dance floor somewhere because I didn't really do it in my 20s, and that can be a slay for me. But it's for everyone's journey, everyone's slutty dance floor journey is different. But I do need to tell you that you are someone who, sure, I find truly incredibly talented. You're such a great actor, dancer, but I also love that you've embraced the fur as someone who talks very openly, very publicly about my own shame that I had about my fur for a long time. Can you tell me your journey? Were you shaving in high school? Were you when did you come to embrace the fact that you were a hairy king?
Well, it's funny because I remember playing street hockey in Boston and I was like 14 and my friend had armpit hair and I was like, I want armpit hair. I want armpit hair. I like prayed and then I woke up so hairy. So be careful what you wish for, kiddos.
Wow,
Yeah, it
you're a
was just
witch.
like years later and it just happened. And then, it was gradual. Like in high school, it wasn't really like, it was like cute, it was like in between the pecs and like happy
Sure.
trail. And then as in college was happening, and I remember I was dating this boy and made a comment and he didn't like it. And I felt really insecure about it. And then I had this girl like wax me and it was like one of those like slap waxes. It wasn't even hot. And I had so many ingrown hairs and I was like, this kid isn't even that cute. Like, why would I even do this? And then like, I like love embracing my like Italian culture and being Sicilian and like just like my handsome relatives at all. Just like, my dad was such a handsome man. And when he was my age and I just, he had the hair, it's just got it from him and I embraced it and I love it. I don't like being clean anymore. And then there's moments now it's like on my back and I'm like, okay, whatever. It's a little bit, but then there'll be people like, I'm like kind of naked in all these shows that I'm doing, especially the ones on Broadway. I remember I was in the Cher Show and this girl was like, you need to shave your back. And I go, you need to shut up. Or I forget what I said, something snarky, but it like hurt my feelings that someone would be like, I'm literally about to go on stage and you're going to make me self-conscious like immediately. Like, who says
I hate that. I hate there's a lot of people, not to make it serious, but there's a lot of people who like police other people's bodies in so many inappropriate ways, but the body hair thing, that's partly why I hated it myself. It was like I was so embarrassed about having like hair on my arms. Oh my God, my legs. Like people, you have to shave your legs. You like,
That's
or like,
horrible.
I have hair that would grow on onto my hands, which is like, I'm just obviously not controlling where the hair is growing. And I used to be so embarrassed. And of course, people that make those comments, I almost forgot why I felt so much shame. I thought it was sort of all internal, but no, people said that shit to me too. And it's no wonder we're just trying to like fit in. And all of a sudden we're just sitting at the school assembly being made fun of for
Bullying
having
for
a bunch of hair in our legs. Like
it
girly,
makes no
I
sense.
did not choose that life. And thanks for letting me know.
And those are the things we need to like embrace. Like I feel like even when you go into a gay world, especially a Broadway gay world, where it's still so homogenous. Like sometimes I feel like I'm back in suburbia in this heteronormative landscape where everyone's in their Lululemon and everyone's drinking out of their Stanley Cup. And I just like, I can't. And I actively fight against it with my lifestyle and the way I dress and the things I do and the friends that I make and who I revolve around in the Broadway community are very, I feel like, outliers, people who just don't make that define that's who they are.
Yeah.
Because it can become so insidious and it's so homogenous and it's built that way. We're auditioning next to people who look like us all the time or fitting molds or and for all my POC friends, I don't even know how they deal with a community like that sometimes because the amount of microaggressions I see all the time from just on the street to in a rehearsal to an audition, it's just unbelievable. So I'm like, I'm gonna be hairy and I'm gonna be shirtless on stage and I'm gonna look hot and you know what, and I'm gonna have like 4 of my one ear pierced and I'm gonna live in Brooklyn and make that longer commute because I need to live in Brooklyn and I cannot live in Hell's Kitchen and like die from frozen margaritas. Like
hello. But you're like almost you're rebelling against the parts of the business that does not speak to you in the same way that it did not speak to you growing up. And, it brings up to me like the realities of the industry too. I just watched last night Woman of the Hour. It's Anna Kendrick's directorial debut. And it's on Netflix now.
I've been hearing the buzz.
Yeah, there's a lot of, her character is an actor and basically you see her in an audition room and it's just like, damn, there's a lot of gross realities when it comes to like our bodies and our faces are a part of our business, and I think that people can sort of reduce you to what they see, but it's even more disappointing when it comes from within your colleagues, like when you mentioned the Cher Show and someone saying that. But the other side of that, I need to tell you, and I truly have people who've listened to this podcast for years know I've talked about the Cher Show many times. It is by far one of the most blissful experiences I had in a theater. So Matt had seen the show once and he wanted to take me to it. I popped an edible an hour before. I watched all the Chers speaking to each other. I saw people like you fucking come on stage looking so sexy. I saw the montage of Bob Mackie costumes just completely like giving jazz walks across the stage for a full 10-minute number. Sweetie, I have never been gayer or happier watching that fucking show.
It was a gay old time. Do you know the entire male ensemble? Everybody. Gay grande. Like,
good.
We were living our lives. Bob Mackie, I love him. He's the sweetest, most senile man ever at the same time. Like, he'll be like, what do you want? They're not giving me a budget. But then he'd be so sweet. And he'd be like, what do you want? You want the pants lower? Yeah. He'd be like cutting the hems off my pants. My pubes would be out. Like, icon. And that was like my Broadway debut. And it was OBC. And it was like my Saturn return, and was like, everything's happening, and it was amazing. And there was a lot of vets who were like, the show's not gonna run long. Like, I was looking out the window of New 42. Like, imagine this: I get off of tour and book a Broadway show, get to leave a Broadway tour to make my debut. I arrived to New 42 for my first day of rehearsal, and it's like, oh my God, this is smash, you know? And I'm looking out the window, and some friggin' bitch goes, oh, is this your first time in New 42? Like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I was like, yeah, it is, and I'm savoring it, and you're annoying me, so get out of my face.
Was
like,
she in the show?
Yeah. And she was like 37. Like, girl, like the girls sometimes, I can't. And I found, you know, and I grew to love everybody in that show. And I made some lifelong friends. I like some really, really close friends. But it was not an easy process. But I was like, this is my debut and I'm going to live it up. And I'm like, we're doing this Cher Show. I'm just like, Michaela Diamond's like 17 and belting her face off. Like, Stephanie J. Block's about to win a Tony. Like, Bob Mackie is literally touching me. Like, Cher is here. Like,
Bob Mackie has a fistful of my bush.
Yes, literally. I'm like, I'm going to have fun. I'm sorry you're not having fun, but like, there's no one stopping me from having fun and enjoying and taking in this experience.
Well, it goes to show you too. I think I wish people normalize more about Broadway and just any dream, any fucking dream, no matter who's listening to this right now, and if you have not achieved your dream, the realities of every single person's dream have pitfalls and difficulties that we all romanticize, I think. So like you being in New 42, you know, for anyone who doesn't know, it's like the like nicest, biggest, best Broadway rehearsal studio, obviously at 42nd Street. And for someone to take away your bliss in that moment is just, again, showing you that you can be at the NFL of theater, which is Broadway, and still have some bitches in your ear or realities of the job that fucking suck. And I think that that's like the tough thing about getting older, is that you get like reality check after reality check after reality check while still trying to, again, celebrate the wins, follow your bliss, and not let any of those reality checks or the bullshit take you down or make you feel bad. And I think that if we make it full circle, like, you need to celebrate the fact that you're in previews for Death Becomes Her. For any girlies who haven't seen the details, it opens on Broadway November 21st. And I think it's so incredible, the fact that you've gone from Broadway show to doing, I mean, Phantasmus, Julio Torres' amazing show. Welcome to Chippendales, where you get to rip your pants off on billboards on, you know, like 33rd Street and 7th. I mean, that must have been insane. You've walked in New York Fashion Week. You were in Fire Island. I mean, come on, baby. We got to celebrate these fucking wins.
We do. Thank you for saying that. And I tell everyone to do this. Write the good stuff down. Literally take a pen and write it. And you get so caught up in it all, and you're next to so many talented people where you forget how talented you are or how big your drive is, and just write those moments down. One of my favorite memories is I did the tour of Aladdin, brand new Broadway tour, blah blah blah, Friend Like Me, long, like I was Aladdin as a 4-year-old for Halloween, and we're going through the quick changes, all these costumes built for me, going, go on stage, and in this quick change I see my brand new gold Laducas with this built-in spats, with the wood in the freaking heel, and these like, you know, $2,000 tap shoes. And for a second, I see my little black patent leather tap shoes. You know, in my head, this is so corny, but it always makes me cry. I literally did in that moment. They just like, it was like they wasn't there. It was just those little, my first little tap shoes. And I just was like, take those moments in, write them down, savor them, because we forget why we do this sometimes. And it's so important, because that one little moment, lasts a whole lifetime. And it just, makes me feel good.
Mikey, that's so fucking beautiful. I think so much of what I do and what a lot of us do as adults is just taking care of the kid that we used to be. And we were cleaning up our apartment recently, and it's just randomly happens to be next to my desk, but there's a photo of me at like, I don't know, 11 or 12. Oh my God. And I literally just took a look at it and I was like, this kid, he, obviously hated so much of what I was at my core because I was being told it wasn't right. But then to be now sitting with someone like you talking about looking at those tap shoes and just saying, like, we did it and we are continuing to do it. And no matter what the achievement is, it's actually, that's not what we have done. What we have done is honored who we are at our core and said, fuck you to the people telling us to wax our backs and to the people who are telling us not to be gay and to not try to do Broadway and to not to whatever it is. And we are taking care of that kid. And I think that is what us Virgos have to consider to be the win.
Fuck yes, period. That it was so eloquently said. And
thank you.
So true.
It's so true.
Confirm that. It's all of that.
I 100% feel so grateful that you've been able to come on this podcast to talk us through this, because sadly, Mikey Graceffa, we have to get towards the end of this interview, and I'm going to ask you the final gay ass podcast question, which is, if the world was ending, you could only save one character actress, who would you save?
All right, this might be a little niche. I mean, I was thinking about a lot of people, but my icon right now is Kelly Bishop.
Oh, yes.
Kelly Bishop. Gilmore Girls.
Yes.
Kelly Bishop. I just finished her memoir. I was bawling. It's out. It came out in September.
I was going to say, I haven't read. Give me the pitch. Tell me what was the weepy moment for you? And obviously no spoilers, but was it just like her journey?
Her whole journey, she is Sheila from Chorus Line, and I knew this, and like they wrote it about her and her whole, where she came from and her family life, but also mostly it was like getting that chunk between her getting a Tony Award on Broadway and her doing, Emily Gilmore and Gilmore Girls, her life. Like what she talks about, just like being such a progressive woman and not wanting children and just loving to work and just wanting to work and taking any job and fulfilling her role of trying to be an actress. And just as a dancer who was like a freaking phenomenal dancer. I mean, people don't give her enough props. I mean, yes, Donna McKechnie is God, but you watch old videos of Kelly Bishop dancing, insane. And she used this and she had so much drive and became this amazing actress. And people don't give, and Emily Gilmore is one of the best characters on TV ever. I mean, I love that show. Every autumn I'm watching it. It brings me so much joy, but just her life and her trajectory and what she's been through, and she's still going.
Yeah, and I just look at, she's 80 years old. She's 80.
She's 80, and she's going to be in the new Amy Sherman Palladino show that they're making. I need to meet her. If anyone knows how I can have Kelly Bishop come see Death Becomes Her listening, let me know, because that's my dream right now, because I'm just manifesting. And the last thing I'll say is she talks about being my age right now and trying to transition from musical theater while still doing it, but like being an actor. And I feel like that's exactly what I've been going through right now. Is just finding these things of like having my autonomy and being like, I love being part of an ensemble, but like I feel like I'm getting to a point where like, it's gonna be Mikey time, and it's gonna be me to like have my moment. And she held space for herself, and she was telling other people to hold space for themselves too. And I love her.
It's such a great answer, and we all aspire to have the strength of Kelly Mother Trucking Bishop, and we absolutely can see it for you, Mikey Graceffa, and I love that you are feeling your strength and your power, and I'm so fucking grateful you came on That's a Gay Ass Podcast. So
thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it truly, I'm so happy you said yes. And can you tell the listeners where to follow you, and of course where to get those tickets to Death Becomes Her?
Yes, follow me on the IG at Mikey_Graceffa. And just go to deathbecomesher.com and buy those tickets. The show is amazing. It's so campy. It's campy with a capital C, and you're gonna die laughing and have the best time. And it looks expensive, okay? It looks
Oh,
lush.
I've seen the diamonds and the costumes. I've seen
the Swarovski crystals. So.
And don't get it twisted, bitch. Well, I'll see you on the Broadway. And Mikey Graceffa, stay hot, stay hairy, and God bless you.
I love you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to That's a Gay Ass Podcast. Now listen, pull your car over, stop the dishes, and leave a 5-star review if you enjoy this gay ass pod. We're again 5 away from 300 on Apple Podcasts. So please leave a little quick sentence about what you enjoy about That's a Gay Ass Podcast. And if you're on YouTube, you can click that like button, you can subscribe, or send this episode to a friend who really enjoys horny talk about body hair. As always, we're on Instagram at Gay Ass Podcast, and buckle the brunch up because the guests are keeping on being delicious as hell. Next week on Wednesday, I'll be here. You stay queer. And as always, even if you're straight, stay gay, bitch. You're gay. You've been listening to That's a Gay Ass Podcast, hosted by me, Eric Williams. If you want to see and hear more, make sure you're subscribed to us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, or Patreon at Gay Ass Podcast. That's a Gay Ass Podcast is executive produced by Eric Williams and produced by Nathanael McClure. We'll see you next week.